My wedding is less than a month away, but instead of writing my vows, I am currently packing my bags because I just discovered what my fiancée did at her bachelorette party. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We have two intense stories of betrayal on the docket today. Let's dive right in and see how these situations unfold. Story 1. I am a 31-year-old man who recently discovered that my future wife was unfaithful during her wild bachelorette weekend. I am planning to walk away from everything. I am struggling to find the right words to describe this mess. Essentially, I was feeling suspicious last night, so I decided to snoop. I grabbed her phone while she was asleep. There was a group chat notification from her friends discussing the party. I ended up staying awake all night, acting like a paranoid detective from a crime drama. I combed through her computer, her social media private messages, and her texts. That is how I confirmed she cheated on me during her bachelorette celebration. And by cheating, I do not mean she just got a lap dance or saw some skin, which I could probably overlook given the context of the party. No, she actually performed oral acts on the male stripper and then proceeded to leave the club with a different man entirely. She has this second guy as a friend on social media now. The chat history between them is sparse, mostly just polite pleasantries like, "It was great meeting you," and "had fun," all dated back to the night of the party. However, the group chat with her bridesmaids tells the full, ugly story. It is a tight-knit circle, and they discussed exactly what she did in graphic detail. It appears to be a one-night stand, an isolated incident, but I am an absolute wreck. I have not slept a wink. She has to leave for her job in about 60 minutes. It is nearly 6 in the morning right now, and I am paralyzed. I have no idea what my next move should be. We are scheduled to walk down the aisle in 3 weeks. My gut is telling me to pack my luggage the moment she walks out the door for work and just abandon the apartment. It belongs to her parents anyway, so I have no claim to it. We had blueprints for our future: buying a home, raising children, growing old together. Now, I feel the urge to toss those plans into the trash. I am sitting here reeking of booze, feeling intoxicated and deeply miserable. It is strange, though. I feel more aggressive and angry than sorrowful. I have not shed a single tear since uncovering the truth. Should I wake her up and scream? Should I just vanish? Is it worth hearing her excuse? Part of me wants to do something violent and destructive, but I am trying to remain logical. I need guidance. I ended up leaving the apartment earlier this morning to have a cigarette and clear my head. My mind was still spinning, but reading through online advice helped ground me. Someone pointed out the silver lining. At least I found out the truth before the legal paperwork and children were involved. I still believe this was an isolated event. Nothing else in her history suggests a pattern. I assume she viewed this as her final night of freedom before settling down, or something equally stupid. Frankly, I do not know, and I have stopped caring. While I was outside smoking, I was gone for maybe 20 minutes. She woke up. She saw the empty bottles and asked what I had been doing. She came over to hug and kiss me good morning. I went along with it, but I felt completely hollow inside. I did not want to tip my hand that I knew her secret yet. She asked why I had been drinking alone and why I never came to bed. I lied and said I had insomnia and bad dreams, but that I was fine. I felt dissociated, like I was watching my own life through a camera lens. She asked if I was getting cold feet about the wedding. I looked at her and said, "You know I love you. There is no stress about the marriage." How could anyone be stressed about the happiest event of their life? She finished getting ready and went to work. The moment the door clicked shut, I started packing. I took only the essentials: my desktop rig, my wardrobe, and personal items. I left the shared furniture, the television, and everything else. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. I took enough to ensure I never have to set foot in that place again. She can keep the rest. All told, I filled about 4 suitcases, not counting the computer. I immediately called the wedding venue to cancel. They informed me there is a 15% cancellation fee because the date is so close and it was a large booking. I told them to bill me. I do not care about the money right now. I also made sure to save screenshots of every incriminating message and transferred them to my secure drive. By 1 in the afternoon, I hailed a cab and checked into a hotel about 60 miles away from our city. I did not leave a note. I did not leave a photo. I simply vanished. My plan is to eventually crash with a best friend who lives in a different town about 200 miles away, but I needed this solitude in the hotel first. I need to process the trauma. Around 3:30 in the afternoon, My phone began vibrating incessantly. It was my ex-fiancé. 20 minutes later, the calls started coming from her sister, her bridesmaids, her parents, my parents, and mutual acquaintances. The only people I answered were my mother and father. I trust them implicitly. I told them the truth, though I sanitized the story slightly. I asked my dad to keep it quiet and made the same request of my mom. I told them the engagement is off and there will be no wedding. I did not give them the graphic details, just that she was unfaithful. I figured specific details would not help the situation. At 5 in the evening, my dad called back. He said my ex is hysterical, having a total breakdown, claiming she does not understand why I disappeared. I told him to stay out of it and let me be alone. I turned my phone off and have been silent since. I am ghosting everyone. I managed to nap, use the hotel pool, and am just trying to breathe. I am debating whether to break silence. Her sister knew everything. I have the text proving she laughed about the cheating and encouraged my fiancé not to feel guilty because what happens at the bachelorette stays at the bachelorette. I am tempted to reply to the sister with a single screenshot of that conversation. Thanks for the support. I will update again before I go dark. Yesterday, my phone was still being bombarded by her family. I finally broke silence with the sister. I sent her the screenshot where she encouraged the affair. I added no text, just the image. She went silent immediately. Later, I called my business partner. He is a childhood friend, and I trust him more than anyone. I told him the full story. He told me to take as much time off as needed and suggested a vacation. He even offered to join me since he has time off. I am currently staying at the hotel for a few more days, then likely heading out on a trip with him. We have not picked a destination yet, but I am definitely leaving the country for a bit. After silencing the sister, the calls slowed down. I eventually decided to answer my ex-wife-to-be. I had a gut feeling she would try to spin a narrative. When I answered, her voice was shredded. She had clearly been sobbing for hours. She begged me to return, claiming there was an explanation, that she loved me and that I had misunderstood the situation. I could hear her sister and another person whispering in the background. I spoke coldly. Okay, explain it then. She claimed I only saw a fragment of the chat and drew the wrong conclusion. She called my decision to leave irrational. I gave her short, monosyllabic answers. Finally, I told her to check her messages and call me back in 10 minutes. I hung up and sent her the full file of screenshots, the undeniable proof. She called back in under 2 minutes, screaming and crying. She apologized profusely, saying she wanted to die rather than lose me. Then came the excuses. She was forced by peer pressure. She needed to get it out of her system before marriage. I remained silent. The quieter I was, the harder she cried. She started bargaining, telling me I could sleep with other women to even the score. She said she would publicly shame herself if that is what it took. She claimed she hated her sister for pushing her into it. I finally spoke up. I told her I had no desire to sleep with other women because until yesterday she was the only woman I wanted. I did not need a last fling to know I loved her. She kept begging. I eventually told her that if she confessed the truth to her parents, I might think about speaking to her. Then I hung up. 30 minutes later, her father called me. He apologized for his daughter's actions. He said he did not raise her to be like this and that. While he understands if I never return, he still respects me. Then her mother grabbed the phone. She tried to minimize it, calling it a mistake and saying we could move past it because her daughter was destroyed. I politely told her goodbye and hung up. My ex called again. She said she had told her parents and texted our mutual friends the truth. She suggested counseling, offering to pay for everything. I listened for a while, then simply said, "Don't cry. You are a single woman now. You are allowed to do whatever you want. I hope you find the right guy." That broke her. She wailed. Her sister got on the line, trying to negotiate, claiming I promised to take her back if she confessed. I corrected her. I said I would think times about it, and after thinking, I realized I dodged a bullet. I wish them luck. The sister then pulled the "she is suicidal" card. I replied, "It is good you are with her then. You can take her to a hospital." And I hung up. My phone is still blowing up with apologies from her friends, but I am done. I feel lighter. I am going on vacation. My friend and I flew out for that trip. He paid for everything and spent the whole time trying to keep my spirits up. I had moments of regression, getting lost in my thoughts. It is hard to describe feeling okay on the surface, but rotting underneath. The first few nights were low-key. We saw sights, ate dinner. He wanted to club, but I refused. I felt like I had lost a limb. I felt destined to be lonely forever. My friend was patient. By the middle of the trip, I started to stabilize. I realized I no longer feel attached to her. I do not care what she does. I returned home a few days ago. I heard she tried to contact my family and that she is doing poorly mentally. Honestly, I feel neutral. I do not hate her, but I have zero empathy left. I just want to move on. My dad said she wants one last conversation for closure, but I do not think I will give it to her. I would feel nothing even if I did. Moving on to our second story. She cheated. I left, but she refuses to let me go. I was with my ex-girlfriend Vanessa for 5 years. We met at a hobby convention. We started as friends, discussing our shared interests. Eventually, she confessed she had feelings for me. I was surprised, but the feeling was mutual. We dated for 2 years before moving in together. Our families merged beautifully. Our friends became one large group. This was surprising because we come from vastly different economic worlds. I was raised in a lower middle-class household. Vanessa and her circle are extremely wealthy. Despite the money gap, everything was perfect. Until she cheated. Vanessa betrayed me with a random guy. I do not know why, and I do not care to investigate. I found out a month ago. My phone was broken, so I borrowed hers to make a call. The moment I unlocked the screen, a text popped up from a man complimenting how her body felt bouncing on him the previous day. I will skip the emotional breakdown. I simply put the phone down and told her I was leaving. I did not give a reason. She looked confused. I walked out because I have a history of anger issues, and I did not want to lose control. I walked around the city for hours until my legs gave out. I crashed at a friend's place. The next day, I went back to the apartment to talk. I told her simply, I will not date a cheater. I did not ask for the gory details. I just wanted out. She did not handle it well. She became hysterical, hitting herself, calling herself vulgar names and begging me to stay. It caused a scene. Neighbors came out to watch. I managed to escape, but it was messy. I retrieved my belongings when she was out. I thought that was the end. It was not. Because Vanessa is rich, she is now using her resources to harass me. I receive expensive gifts at work. I get letters and packages constantly. She shows up at places where I am hanging out with friends. I suspect she has hired someone to track me because her timing is too perfect. I went to the police, but they essentially told me that her family is too powerful in this town and nothing would happen. I appreciate the cops' honesty, but it leaves me defenseless. I want to heal, but she is forcing herself into my life. I cannot afford to move cities. I have blocked her on every digital platform, but she uses her friends to relay messages asking for just one meeting. I am exhausted. I do not want to see her. How do you move on when the other person has unlimited time and money to haunt you? I decided to try a different tactic. I set up a meeting with my ex's mother. This was about a week after my last post. Her mother knew we broke up and actually supported my decision, seeing how much pain I was in. She was always kind to me, despite the wealth gap. I explained the situation to her. She knew Vanessa wanted me back, but she had no idea about the stalking, the gifts, or the harassment. I nearly cried explaining it to her. The mother hugged me and kissed my forehead like I was her own child. I felt embarrassed but grateful. I told her I just needed space. She promised to handle her daughter and make the harassment stop. It worked. The craziness continued for another 48 hours, and then silence. No messages, no surprise appearances. It has been 3 weeks of absolute peace. It feels like a boulder has been lifted off my chest. I can finally breathe. I no longer have to scan the room when I enter a bar. I spoke to the mother one last time to thank her. She said it was the least she could do. She also gently suggested that we cut contact permanently so I can fully heal. She apologized for how it ended and said they would miss me at Christmas. We said goodbye. So, that is the end of it. The stalking stopped. I feel great. Life is finally looking up. Thank you all for the advice on how to handle this nightmare.